Hey everyone, it's Aviation Buff. I hope everyone's having a good day. I've been trying to lose some weight myself. 2 years ago, I had lost a lot of weight and I was nice and thin, but last 2 years I kind of gained some of that back. So I've been working on it. I feel a little bit better. I think I've lost a couple pounds this week, so I'm gonna try and keep at it. Hopefully, never had much luck with keeping my weight down, but I digress. Anyway. Today I'm doing a part two of what no one is telling you about the F-86 Sabre, and there was a couple points I wanted to rehash and get to just to kind of clarify what I was talking about. And I think there's a couple of good aircraft examples like the F-86 that I'm going to use. The main point to the first video was that some airplane models are so different than the original model that first was produced that sometimes they are almost a different aircraft. And this is something a lot of people don't talk about, and I wish they would, because it just makes airplane learning more fun, right? And in particular, the F-86 Sabre, several of the later models look nothing like the earlier version. Airplane models are so different than the original models that they're almost a different aircraft. And as some people say, that's kind of a mute point, but really, some of these, the F-86, they're all F-86s, right? But I think there's enough differences to at least try and categorize these aircraft differently, a little differently, even as in maybe in a way as a subcategory of aircraft, Now, like the F-86D Sabre Dog, North American was originally gonna call it the F-95, and in their tech orders and paperwork, it was written down as the XF-95. But the Air Force going to the Department of Defense asking for more money for a new airplane, they say, no, we don't want to spend more money on another new airplane. And so North American is like, well, it's really just an F-86 Sabre. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. We can give you some more money for some more F-86s to be built. Kind of like that, I think. And another couple aircraft that I think are a good example of there's enough differences that they're almost a different airplane. And one of those is the F-94C Starfire. This in itself, Lockheed was originally going to call it the F-97, but budgets or whatnot, that ended up just being a upgraded model F-96 or F-94. The F-94C was totally different than the A model and B model, so much that it looks very different, and it's almost a different airplane. It had different wings, it had different tail surfaces, it had a different fuselage to it, a different nose, different armament arrangements. It does, the F-94C looks totally different than the A and B models, and the same with the F-86 Sabre Dog, totally different than the earlier Sabre models, and and also like the F-86H, the Sabre Hog. That airplane has a much more blunt nose and a bigger, larger intake scoop in the nose, and it's a little different than the other F-86s. I think these differences are enough to make mention of it, and I wish museums and aviation historians would make these points more known to people, because it's just added interest to the airplanes, right? Really. So, and there's a couple other aircraft like recently, and this one always gets some arguments going or some disagreements, really. The F-80 Shooting Star and the T-33 Shooting Star. Some people are very adamant that it's the same airplane, and it doesn't matter if it's a T-33 and I call it an F-80. It doesn't matter. It's the same airplane. Well, generally, yes. I mean, the T-33 grew out of the F-80, so it's within the subgroup of F-80 family of aircraft. But I think there's enough differences to say that it's a different aircraft. Okay. Now I just wish everyone would try and be correct about airplane types, because I mean, car guys, if you see a 1967 Ford Mustang and you tell a car guy, well, a 1970 Ford Mustang is the same as a 67, they're gonna say, no, that's not right, you know. So it's just, you know, trying to be correct about things, really, you know. And I think being correct about aircraft designations and letting people know the differences of each aircraft just adds to the interest in the passion, the hobby of aviation history and these old airplanes, right? Another good example is the MiG-21. How many variants are there of the MiG-21? And they all look different. So some MiG-21s do not look anything like the original design models, and that's just the kind of point I'm trying to come across, I guess, is that there's enough differences in these aircraft to almost categorize these aircraft as a different aircraft, because they're very different in design than the original design that had come out with the airplane. Another airplane that's kind of in that realm is the C-47 and the C-117. I see a lot of Facebook posts of people posting pictures of a C-117 and people commenting, that's a nice C-47. Well, no, that's not a C-47. It's a C-117 or R4D8. It's an improved, upgraded C-47 basically, but it's got different wings. It's got a larger tail, different engines on it. It's a different airplane, right? It's in the C-47 family, but there's enough differences that it has been categorized as a different airplane, and that's why it has a different designation number for that type of airplane. I guess another good example would be the B-29 and B-50. I think there's enough differences in the B-50 to have it as its own aircraft and something different than the B-29, even though the B-50 does derive from the B-29 family, and the B-50 is just basically an upgraded version of the B-29, but there's enough differences that it's a different airplane, really. So that's just the points I'm trying to get at. It's not important maybe, but it is to me a little bit. So in hindsight, not every airplane is created equal. They're all different. Even within the same family, the aircraft become almost a different aircraft sometimes. And I wish museums and organizations and airplane buffs and historians would do a little bit better job in making note on the differences of these aircraft, because without explaining the differences, people don't learn, and there's a lack of interest, I think, if we don't. I'm an airplane purist. I'm sorry. I think it's a good thing to be very specific about aircraft types. Maybe it's just the OCD in me. I don't know. I'm just a geek. I'm an airplane geek, and I would just like to see all these airplanes highlighted as their own individual, unique airframe. Why is it important? It's just because it makes the airplane history so much more interesting and more things to learn. And there's so many different types of airplanes out there that were built, and it's hard to keep up, really. And I don't know all the airplanes that are out there in the world, but I've studied enough to know my country's origin aircraft for the most part, and enough to know that no aircraft is created equal. The F-86 and all the different models are all different from one another. The different C-47s are all different from one another. They're all similar, yes, but there's enough differences, I think, to at least recognize that it's a bit of a different aircraft, right? Silly video, right? But with that, everyone, please like and subscribe to my channel. If we can get enough people joined and watching videos, we can all save aviation history together. And don't forget to check my merch store at www.warbirdbunker.com. Right there's the link. And also, if you go to warbirdbunker.com, I'm giving all you guys a discount code for 25% off shirts, stickers, and flags on my site. And the discount code is Warbird for you. It's right here. See it? Warbird for you. And with that, everyone, thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for watching my video here, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Love and peace and prosperity to everyone, right? So